What's up, guys? Welcome to Daily Dose of Reddit. This is your host, Zach, and today's subreddit is another new one. And see, before, I thought we hit the peak of revenge with r/SupernovaRevenge or r/BlackHoleRevenge. However, apparently, there's this other subreddit, r/SingularityRevenge, and this actually says in the about little thing that this is the tippy top of the hierarchy of revenge magnitudes. So this is the Zarbomba of revenge. Or I guess the singularity of revenges. In fact, it is so exclusive that only one story has even made it onto the subreddit, and it's been here for a minute. However, given that the story is pretty long, I decided to split it into 2 episodes. I'm sorry, but that's just how we gotta do it because it is way too long for one video. Okay, one last thing before we start. The story is indeed too long for one video. However, it is not long enough for 2 full videos. So I'm deciding to do r/Petty Revenge before I do Singularity Revenge, just so you appreciate the magnitude of the revenge. Alright, so this story's called, It Was 80% My Fault? So this was 6 years ago, when my now husband and I moved in together after 2 years of dating. I, 24 at the time, moved into his 31 place, into his room. While it was an overall good thing, changes can be hard, and we needed to adjust to sharing space. One thing I'd like to stress is that we both were, and are, immature and petty, but we have made each other better over time. One evening, he heard me falling in the walk-in closet. I yelped in surprise and my wrist banged against the wall to catch myself. He rushed to my side to make sure I was okay and asked me what happened. I may have kicked the clothes he left on the floor, and they were khaki shorts on khaki-colored closet floor mats. Or pointed, or straight up said it out loud. We have embellished the story over the years, so it's hard to remember the truth. But the message was, I tripped, and it's because you don't pick up your clothes. He definitely said, it's 80% your fault for not looking, and went back to what he was doing. I was so mad. I took every piece of clothing I had, edit from the hamper. I figured I would be the one cleaning it up after, making my point, leaving clothes on the ground is inconsiderate, and spread it on the floor of the room. The slight furrow of his brow when he saw the mess of clothes on the ground was a start. If you trip, it's only like 20% my fault, I added. He frowned. A total success for me. It worked better than nagging, and I didn't have to stoop to being his maid. We ended our night laughing at our pettiness and picked the mess up together before going to bed. He picks up his clothes now, mostly. We now use Nerf guns to shoot each other when we squabble. Oh, that's cute. Just make sure it doesn't end up compounding into pent-up resentment. However, you guys do seem to make sure your frustrations are known to each other. So, y'all should be good. This story's called The Old Uno Reverse Card. One day, I came home from work and someone else's car was parked out in front of my house. No matter, I park outside my neighbor's house. When I wake up the next day and go out to my car to leave for work, there's a note tucked on my windshield. I unfold it and it reads, "Do not park here ever again or else," in a font so large it takes up the whole page of paper. I folded it up, placed it in my glove box, and there it sat for nearly a year. Until the day he parked out in front of my house. I tucked the note he left me on his window and went to bed. The next day, as I was enjoying my coffee, I watched his wife go to get in the car and noticed the note. She read it with a puzzled look that quickly turned to rage. I thought she would storm over to ask me about it, but apparently, she recognized her husband's handwriting and went to ask him. He had to sheepishly explain to her that he left it on my car and she brought him over, tail between his legs, to apologize. We had a beer, he stared at the floor the whole time. It was cool. You gotta appreciate how everything gets resolved in the end. Conflict can directly lead to closeness. Okay, not directly, but indirectly. Getting over the conflict leads to closeness. Directly. And this post demonstrates that perfectly. Love thy neighbor, but don't love thy neighbor's wife too much, otherwise you'll get into some trouble. Alright, so here's the big guy, okay? It's called Treat me like dirt for years? I'll expose you at your wedding and let your mental breakdown do the rest. I've been debating posting this story as it was supposed to be a nuclear revenge, but escalated to a supernova revenge with a possible black hole revenge. I do apologize for the structure, mobile. Errors, and sense was a lot of information to hold on to and can't remember everything perfectly, and the extremely long length. These 3 years were hell, and I needed to blow off steam and show how much of a wretch she was. Disclaimer: the names of the people in this story have been changed to protect their identities. Backstory: when I was in my first year of college, I was assigned a lab partner, who we will call Robbie. He was a nice fella to spend the long, arduous days at college with, and over the 2 years of college, had come to view him as a brother. He had a couple of relationships throughout college. The first ran its course throughout the year, concluding with a relatively peaceful end. His second relationship introduces the star of the story, who I had theorized as an entitled person. However, upon revising this tale, I believe she is an insidious hag. Her name? Sally. College. Sally was lovely to be around for the first couple of months. I even admit some jealousy of their perfect relationship. Once the 4th month began, Sally began asking if anyone could give her some money for lunch, to which either Robbie or one of her friends would give her some money for food. After the 3rd time asking, next to no one provided anything, so she dragged Robbie away and returned 10 minutes later with food. This continues for most of the year of her going around cornering people, sometimes even other random students, and shaming them into giving money or food. She attempted this on me once whilst I was waiting to be served in the cafeteria. At this point, I'd had enough of her attitude and begging, so I loudly announced, "Stop begging me for money. It's not my responsibility to pay for your lunch. Maybe you should stop using the cash your parents give you for jewelry and iPhone accessories and actually buy your own lunch for once." After that encounter, she never pestered me for cash again, but doubled down on pestering everyone else and became extremely passive-aggressive towards anyone who refused to give her what she demanded. I told Robbie what she was doing, but he always replied with the same thing: "I'll talk to her about it." He never did. Each time I pestered him about talking to her, he would happily stroll in with an odd smile on his face. Turns out that whenever he began one of these talks with her, she just got on her knees and went down on him. He was so weak-willed when it came to an argument. He would shut up when she had a problem, but when he had a problem, she would be submissive to his every sexual desire to keep control. About halfway through the year, she fell pregnant. I was not one bit surprised about that, as they were banging like rabbits at this point. As a side effect of this news, Sally employed guilt tripping into her begging routine and was returning with 10 to 30 pounds. She was becoming unbearably toxic at this point, as she was showing off her loot. I had enough. I excused myself from the group and texted a few others who disliked her begging, and proceeded to the college's office and told them what Sally had been doing. Within a day of our report, Sally no longer begged or shamed anyone in college for the remainder of the year, and I thought it was finally over, that she had learned her lesson. But oh boy, she didn't. If anything, I had just stoked the fire of her rage, but she was unable to act upon anything, and she would have been kicked off of her course if anyone else reported her about her activities. I savored my victory and enjoyed the peaceful last 3 months of college with her death glare constantly on me. Work life. After we went our ways after college, most of the people from our friendship circle went to further education or begin careers. I still remained in contact with Robbie and a few others and did what I could to support him in preparing to be a father. I even went to the extent of inviting him and Sally to come and take care of my much younger siblings to give them a taste of parenthood. Surprisingly, Sally thanked me for giving her the experience and hadn't done anything out of the normal. I'd have expected her to do something petty to get me back, but alas, nothing happened. Robbie thanked me graciously for the experience and offered to pay me back with some drinks, to which I had accepted and had a good time, if I might add. It was odd. Sally was obviously pissed about me spewing her little guilt-tripping scam, but wasn't doing anything. I was extremely perplexed. I could see the anger in her eyes behind her lovey-dovey smile, but didn't know what she planned on doing, so I stayed alert for anything out of the ordinary. This weird state was ongoing for a few months, with me noticing that Robbie was becoming even more distant with me, and becoming more and more defensive about Sally to the point that our friendship was hanging by threads. I was having thoughts of terminating the friendship due to the severe animosity between us. But out of the blue, I began receiving invites to parties and was pleasantly surprised about the welcoming atmosphere. Even after having a drink or two, Sally was bearable to be around. I think we sort of found a temporary middle ground during our mini Cold War. After a month of this middle ground being established, Sally texted me more than usual, especially after I had attended the parties over the year. She usually asked me questions along the lines of, "Be honest, do you like me?" To which I replied, "When you aren't being a pain in the ass," every time. In truth, I tolerated her for Robbie's sake. With things being more stable between the three of us and nearing the end of 2017, Sally must have been drinking one night again and began texting me very provocative texts, proclaiming that she found my stubborn attitude sexy and began getting bored of Robbie. This was usually followed by a nude. Let me tell you that even when I first met her, I didn't find her attractive, especially after she had her baby. She had let herself go hard. I told her very specifically, "I'm not interested in you, please stop sending me nudes." Thankfully, they stopped, to which I praised the Lord. It was such an awkward position. The next afternoon, I got a call from Sally. I expected an apology along with the explanation of drunk dumb crap, but nope. She went right into a crazed rant about me taking advantage of her whilst drunk. I was completely confused at this point, but here was the brief exchange of texts. "Are you in love with me?" "Not in the slightest." "Then what was all that last night?" "You began the conversation last night, and before I could tell you to piss off and leave me alone, you began sending pic after pic to me. It's not my fault for your drunken decisions." She remained silent and put the phone down. The nudes she sent went through iMessage, so they were permanently attached to the conversation. It was like a jump scare every time I saw them. After a couple of hours, I received a call from none other than Sally. "I'm sorry, please don't tell Robbie. I was really drunk last night." I thought so. I won't say anything as long as you stop being a passive-aggressive ass to me. I also suggest you talk to Robbie, but don't outright tell him about what you said. "I promise, I'm sorry." After this happened, the remainder of 2017 was a breeze, no problems at all. Robbie even proposed to Sally and wanted to get married in 2018. Everything was going well. Me, Robbie, and Sally even went out for drinks together. However, they conveniently left when it was their turn to pay for drinks, which I pardoned to not kill the mood. I'd hoped that her entitled behavior would subside, but I was wrong. Wedding setup. Around the start of March 2018, I received an invitation with a small note inside asking if I could donate towards their wedding. At that time, I was having financial trouble and told them so. Because I was pretty handy with Photoshop, Robbie proposed an idea which would use those talents. He asked if I could create a fancy collage as well as a slideshow for the wedding ceremony. Robbie asked Sally and she agreed. Sally and Robbie sent over 200 photos to me requesting I enhance them and provided an idea on how they wanted their collage. I told them I could do them both. However, due to the size of the task, it would take me a number of months to go through all of them, as I had to go to work as well as take care of my younger siblings. Robbie, being the fair and understanding guy he was, suggested that they provide a few things in return, to which I declined at first, but he wouldn't take it as an answer and forced me to make 3 requests and conditions. The conditions we settled upon are as follows. I would be at the church to admire my handiwork. 2, I would receive a number of drinks on the house at the reception. They would be at my 21st birthday. I had gone to both of their birthdays and ensured to make it a special evening for them, and I wanted one to remember myself. They agreed to the conditions, and to make sure they would hold up their end of the bargain, due to them skimping on me on multiple occasions, I created a contract which stated, "This contract specifies that Sally, redacted, and Robbie, redacted, will honor the conditions proposed by OP. Insert conditions. Have been agreed by Robbie, redacted, and Sally, redacted. If these conditions are revoked or not met, OP has the authority and permission to alter the collage and photo slideshow for Robbie, redacted, and Sally, redacted, in any way he sees fit." We all signed the contract and made them a copy, then set off to begin the projects. I didn't hear too much from either of them until a month or so after the signing. Robbie texted me telling me that money was running low and had to make cuts to the amount of people at the ceremony and wouldn't be able to include me in the ceremony or provide the drinks promised. I was a little irritated, but understood and told him I would forgive the 2 broken conditions if he attended my birthday. He assured me that he would be there, and I relaxed, hoping he would keep his end of the bargain. May 2018 comes around and my 21st arrives. My parents request that I take my dog for a walk in the local park for an hour or 2 so they could prepare. I go for a walk, receive the text, and return home. As soon as I enter the house, I receive a royal birthday welcome from friends and family. After going around thanking people for attending, I notice Robbie wasn't present. I shoot him a text but receive no reply. I then call him a few times but still no reply. At that point, I'm a little irritated but don't let it bother me and enjoy the day and night. The following morning, I wake up with a hellish hangover and a backlog of texts and missed calls from both Robbie and Sally. They are most likely going to apologize and offer to spend the day with me today. Nope, I called Sally and received a lovely good morning greeting.
"Why the heck were you calling us yesterday? You woke up the baby!"
Sorry for waking him, but it was my 21st yesterday and was wondering where you both were. Robbie assured me you both would be here.
"Oh yeah, we forgot about that and went on our date night. We went to what?"
Are you serious?
"Excuse me?"
You just blew off my 21st when I spent time and money coming to both of yours, as well as providing you with a collage and a slideshow for your wedding?
I was feeling a little tired and Robbie told me I didn't want to go to your stupid birthday.
Oh, I see how it is. I'm just a tool to you, aren't I?
I'm sorry, alright, just please don't mess with my collage. I've told everyone that there will be photos of our life together and you edited them.
I couldn't give a crap. You and Robbie have broken the 3 conditions that we agreed upon, and per our contract, I can do whatever I want to the collage, and you can't do squat about it. Click. Alright, y'all, I hate doing this to you, but it is literally almost very perfectly in the middle of the story. And what's the point of a cliffhanger if it's not really a cliffhanger? And don't worry, you won't have to wait long, maybe a few hours. I'm not sure when this is actually going to go up. Hopefully the same day. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.